The laughter hit me before the water did. 1 second, I was standing near the poolside, holding a glass of lemonade and trying not to get my shoes wet. The next, I was tumbling backward, my son's hands still outstretched from the shove, and the world turned into a blur of blue, splash, and gasps. Cold water swallowed me whole. My hearing dulled under the surface, but I could still make out the echo of laughter when I came up sputtering. My son, Jason, was doubled over, and beside him his wife, Chloe, was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. "Come on, Dad," Jason said between chuckles. "Lighten up." "It's just a joke." I wiped water from my face, blinking through stinging eyes. Around us, their friends were recording on their phones. I could hear one of them saying, "Dude, that's going viral for sure." I forced a smile, tight and shallow, but inside, something cracked. You see, I wasn't just some old man at the party. This was my house, my pool, my backyard. Jason and Chloe had moved in temporarily after buying their new place. I'd offered them a few weeks' stay while they finished renovations. I thought we'd spend some time together, maybe bond again. But ever since Chloe entered his life, Jason had changed. He was colder, shorter with me. Like being a funny old dad was embarrassing to him, and now I was the punchline I climbed out of the pool slowly. The laughter was dying down, but my clothes clung to me like a second skin. Jason tried to hand me a towel, still grinning. "Come on, Pops, don't be mad. It was just for fun. Everyone's doing it." I looked at him, my only son, and realized he didn't even see what he'd done. "Yeah," I said softly, taking the towel. "Just for fun." But inside, I decided something. This would be the last laugh he'd have at my expense. That night, after everyone left, Jason and Chloe were still scrolling through their phones, probably checking likes on their little prank video. I overheard Chloe say, "Babe, it already has 2,000 views. You should post it on TikTok." Jason laughed. "My dad's finally famous." They didn't know I was standing near the kitchen doorway, drying my hands. I didn't say a word. I just turned, went to my room, and opened my laptop. I may be old, but I'm not stupid. Jason had been bragging for weeks about his real estate investments. He'd borrowed money from me, $80,000 to be exact, to buy that new house. He promised to pay it back once he sold his other property. Well, he hadn't sold it yet. And, technically, I still owned part of that house's paperwork. My name was on the co-investment documents. If Jason wanted to make me look like a fool for clicks, I'd show him what real foolishness looked like. The next morning, I cooked breakfast as usual. Eggs, toast, bacon. Jason stumbled in, rubbing his eyes. "Morning, Dad," he mumbled, pouring coffee. "Morning, son," I said cheerfully. "Say, I was thinking, maybe it's time you and Chloe move into your new place." I went ahead and called the bank about transferring the paperwork. His head shot up. "Wait, what? We're not ready to move yet." I shrugged. "You'll figure it out." "Young people like you always do." He looked confused, but said nothing. That same day, I called my lawyer and had the co-investment pulled. It was fully legal. My name was on the financing, and Jason hadn't repaid a cent. The result? The sale of the property froze until we could resolve ownership disputes. Jason and Chloe were furious. Their dream home deal was suddenly in limbo. When Jason confronted me that evening, his voice cracked with frustration. "Dad, what the hell did you do? You just cost me thousands." I looked him dead in the eye and said, "You cost yourself when you forgot who built the life you're standing on. You think pushing your father into a pool is funny? You think humiliating family for likes is entertainment?" He went silent. Chloe crossed her arms, glaring. "Oh, come on," she said. "You're being petty." "It was a joke." I smiled faintly. "So was this. The next day, the video disappeared from every social media platform. Jason never said a word, but I could tell he was embarrassed. His friends must have told him he went too far. He spent the next week sulking, trying to fix things with the real estate agent. Chloe wouldn't even look me in the eye at breakfast. Finally, on the 8th day, Jason came to me while I was pruning the rose bushes. "Dad," he said quietly, "I'm sorry. I didn't look up." "For what?" "For the pool. For disrespecting you." I thought it was funny. It wasn't. I finally turned to him. "You know, son, I don't care about being wet. I care about being treated like I don't matter. One day, you'll understand what that feels like, when your own child makes you a joke." His eyes softened, and for the first time in a long while, I saw my boy again. Not the arrogant man he'd become. He nodded slowly. "You're right." We stood there in silence for a while, the kind only fathers and sons share when words can't fix what time already has. Then I said, "I called the bank this morning. They'll reinstate your paperwork. Just remember who helped you when the world didn't laugh." He looked at me in disbelief. "You'd still do that after everything?" I smiled. "Of course. That's what fathers do. We don't stop loving our children. We just teach them lessons they'll never forget." A week later, Jason and Chloe moved out. The day they left, Jason gave me a hug. The kind of tight, grateful hug that said, "I get it now." As their car pulled away, I glanced at the still surface of the pool, the same one he'd pushed me into. This time, I smiled for real. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't anger or payback. It's dignity. And sometimes, letting the water settle is how you remind the world that you can't drown a man who knows how to swim.